I want to add something which I felt there was a lot of misunderstanding. I had mentioned certain ideas about Christianity in the previous shurim and so on, but there are people that misinterpreted what I said, which always happens and so on. So it's very important for me to briefly explain or clarify what I said. It is important to know that if a Rishon, one of the great rabbis of Judaism, says something, then we take his word seriously. And I'm talking about no less a person as Maimonides, the Rambam. The Rambam says, and this is his statement, and I took it off from that statement, that the role of Christianity isn't to replace the Jews. That's absurd. But that I mentioned that the Jewish people have several roles. One of them is to try to help the nations, right, come to a better belief about God, you see. And so the Rambam says that Christianity, even though it's about the Trinity, which many people hold is Avodah Zarah, but it's not paganism per se, and so on, because what they've done is they've changed the pagan religions. Paganism does not believe, first of all, it believes in the multiplicity of gods. That's number one. Second thing, it believes that there is no Messiah. You die, and that's the end of it. There's no Messiah that comes and redeems the world. And the third thing, they don't believe in an afterlife. There's no such thing as an afterlife. This is paganism, and so on. And they believe that there are like many gods, and the nature has its own force, that there are forces, there are demons, there are devils, whatever, and there are gods running around or whatever, and so on, So at least Christianity in many ways is a product of what Paul said, although it's basically both Yeshu and Paul and so on and so on. In any case, the Rambam says that the role of trying to bring the nations closer to the truth in many ways has been given over, that role only, to the Christianity, the nations under Christianity. And that is really why God has allowed it to become so popular. But of course they don't replace the Tikkun process. They don't replace the ability of the Jews to usher in the Messiah, the Mashiach, of course, and to do the Tikkun, to bring God back. It's only a Jewish role, and so on. The only way a Goy can become part of that is if he converts to Judaism. Then he becomes a Jew. But as long as he's not Jewish, then he has no role in what is called the process of rectification of the world, and so on, you see. But the Rambam, Maimonides, says that they do have a role, and that is the miracle that God has allowed Christianity to survive. Because if you think about it, which not many people do, how in the world did Christianity become a religion of 2 billion people? I mean, the man was killed, Yeshu, he was killed as a Roman upstart, insurrectionist. That's why he was killed, it's obvious. And the Romans were very, very careful about people trying to foment a rebellion, and the Jews had nothing to do with this. It's such an incredible lie, you see, and whatever, and it's cost, unfortunately, so many Jewish lives, So the question is, how does a man who was killed, crucified on the cross, or whatever, for being a Roman insurrectionist, how in the world does he, right, become world famous and create a religion that has such success in terms of spreading around? So obviously it has to be the will of God. And the answer Maimonides supplies, that their role became to try to help the nations of the world, not Jews. They rejected Christianity, they rejected Paul, to try to help them, because God does in the end have Rahmanas. He does have mercy on the entire world. And obviously God does not want the world to worship idols and paganism and so on. So he allowed Christianity, which is in many ways basically has many pagan rituals, but it does have many ideas, or certain ideas, which are clearly Jewish. Like the concept of love your neighbor as yourself is Jewish. It was written 3,300 years ago, and people don't even know that. There are so many ideas in Christianity that are really Jewish. they're taken from the Torah itself and so on. But he did allow another religion. Why? Because the Jews, in many ways, could not do the job anymore. Because the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, so that took away a lot of the credibility and the status, elevated status of the Jews. All right, and there was a tremendous, like I say, sinas chinam, hatred that the Jews had, and that's why the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. So God decided, right, and basically this is what Maimonides says. He decided that he will allow the non-Jews, or Esav, to help spread the word of non-paganism. So he gave them, in many ways, success. Because it's a miracle that how in the world did a person like Yeshu be successful? It's unheard of. You see, and not only that, but Yeshu himself was Jewish, obviously, and he knew the Torah, because Talmud says he was a student of Yeshua ben Parachi or whatever, if that's who he was and so on. But in any case, this is what Maimonides says. That's basically what I say. That is what Christianity is. But of course, you don't replace the Jewish people. They're the only nation in the world that can do the tikkun, that can rectify creation and bring God back. But Christianity can assist that divine mission in that sense of trying to help the world come back to a greater appreciation of the truth. And they did. They introduced ideas which are anti-paganistic, and of course they are completely Jewish, but that was their role, and that's, by the way, why did the Jews start the religion? Do you ever wonder? Why couldn't some non-Jew start the religion? You see? And the answer is because their job is to help the world with Jewish ideas. So if the Jews couldn't do it, then according to Maimonides, God gave it over to the Christians. That's basically the whole story. And that is why a Jewish person founded a religion that was world known, because they had tremendous divine assistance to do that, because that's what God wants. He wants the world to be closer to the truth and not live a lie of paganism, which is really in many ways a terrible religion, because it leaves a person forlorn, that he cannot, in many ways, he's doomed to be evil and all that, which is some of the ideas of Christianity and so on, Calvinism and so on. But that's why and so on. But don't ever think that God replaced the Jews. That's absolute nonsense. You see, and the mission of Christianity is to assist that thought to get away from paganism, because God wants to help the non-Jews get closer to the truth. Very important. And therefore he gave divine assistance for this religion to become world known, to do that. And that's obviously the reason why Christians are missionaries, because God puts it in their mind to do that. But never think, and Maimonides, of course, that's why he says this, and so on. So please get it right. Thank you.